Proper battery care is essential for safety, performance, and long-term battery life. So let's go through the do's and don'ts of battery care. All Priority batteries are UL certified, so you should generally rest assured that you won't have an issue, but it's best to be prepared and take the precautions to ensure that your battery will last a really long time and that you'll be safe when you're using it. So let's talk about charging best practices. When you're charging your battery, be sure to do it on a hard, dry, and non-flammable surface, so don't charge it in the bathtub. Use only the charger supplied for your battery system. So that means use the specific charger made by your battery maker for your battery. So Priority makes a few different batteries and a few different chargers to support those batteries. They use different voltage. You want to use the one that is for the correct battery. Similarly, there are aftermarket chargers out there. We never recommend using those, but just use the recommended and the specific charger that's designed for your battery. You want to use a dedicated wall outlet. So that means no power strips, no outlets that are full of other devices plugged in, just one outlet for your battery. And never leave a battery charging without supervision. So we don't recommend charging it and leaving for the night, let's say. You always want to be on hand. And when you're charging, be sure to do it at a temperature that is above freezing, so above 32 degrees Fahrenheit or 0 degrees Celsius, not below. Let's talk about storing your battery. When your battery is not in use on the bike and it's not charging, what do you do with it? Well, you want to store it in a dry indoor area. Ideal storage temperature is between 42 degrees Fahrenheit and 75 degrees Fahrenheit. That's 5 and 24 degrees Celsius. Ideally, you want to store your battery at about half charge or between 30 and 60%. And you want to avoid storing it at 100% charge or fully depleted for any significant amount of time. If you're storing the battery for a long amount of time, it's best to add some power to it periodically. So, every month or several months, to avoid allowing the battery to run completely down to 0% charge, because that can damage the cells. All Priority batteries from late 2004 on feature either an off switch or sleep mode. So when you're storing your battery, make sure it's in sleep mode or off, and that's the best way to preserve partial charge while storing. And when you're storing the battery, never store it below 14 degrees Fahrenheit or minus 10 Celsius, or above 140 degrees Fahrenheit or 60 degrees Celsius. Those extreme temperatures can damage the cells. So what are ideal riding conditions to preserve battery health? One thing to keep in mind is if it's really cold, like below 15 degrees Fahrenheit, then that can damage cells over time and will definitely reduce battery range. So if you are riding in cold conditions, you want to make sure you start with a warm battery. Do not really ever ride the bike in conditions above 140 degrees Fahrenheit or store it in conditions like that. So conditions like inside a hot car or in direct sunlight should really be avoided. So what are some best practices for handling the battery or caring for it? Here are some things you should never do. If you can help it, never drop the battery. It can damage the connections between the cells inside the battery, which can cause problems. Never submerge the battery in water. Whether you're riding or not riding, the battery does not belong in the water. You can certainly ride in inclement weather, but just keep in mind the battery itself should never be submerged. And speaking of which, you want to make sure you keep the contacts of the battery clean and dry. That's these right here. And never power wash the battery. That water can get inside or hit the contacts and will definitely cause problems. If your battery gets dirty and you want to clean it, the best way to do it is to use a dry cloth or isopropyl alcohol on a cloth as well. You want to ensure that the battery is securely locked in your bike before you start riding, because you don't want to risk having the battery fall out and get damage from the impact. So when should you be concerned about your battery? We suggest stopping riding immediately if any of these things happen. If the bike shuts off while riding at partial charge, but then allows the bike to power back on, if the battery swells, cracks, leaks, or smells unusual, or overheats, stop using it right away. Do not plug it into the charger. If the battery has been dropped significantly or has a substantial impact, or if the charger or battery become unusually hot. If any of these things that I've mentioned do happen, stop use immediately, do not charge the battery, put it somewhere safe and away from anything flammable, and contact us right away. And I just want to say that The likelihood of these things happening is extremely unlikely. But if it does, you want to be aware and you want to know what to do. So what are the best things you can do to preserve your battery's health in the long term? Well, partial charging is actually always better than 100% charging. So avoiding going all the way to 100% can help with battery cell health. Avoiding frequent full discharging of the battery, so charging it before it gets all the way depleted to 0%, can help preserve the cells. Avoiding extreme heat, because extreme heat can cause long-term degradation. And check charge periodically during long-term storage. So that means if you're storing it for weeks or months, to top the battery off every now and again to put it back up to partial charge. So never letting it sit fully depleted. If you've got a long ride, charging it to 100% and fully depleting it every now and again is totally fine. But if you want to ensure that your battery is absolutely the utmost as healthy as it can be, avoiding doing that frequently is best practice. So there you have it, some basic best practices to ensure your battery's safety, best performance, and best long-term health. But if you have any more questions about batteries, we're certainly happy to help. Priority Bicycles is available 7 days a week, and the contact information is on your screen.